As I was in prayer this morning, I just feel the Spirit say, many people right now feel that they're forgotten by God. But I want you to know while you're waiting, God has not forgotten you. You know, what can quietly wear a person down is watching life happen for everybody else while you're standing there praying about the same thing over and over and over, watching other people celebrate their good news, their promotions, their purchases, their marriages, their babies, other people moving forward, other people receive what you've been asking God for. Meanwhile, you're sitting there wondering, hello, God, did you forget about me? Here go me. I think that's what this story of Hannah feels so human. Hannah loved God. She prayed, she believed, she kept showing up. Year after year, she was still waiting for a child. And to make it harder, there was another woman in the house named Penina who constantly reminded Hannah of what she did not have. Can you imagine that emotionally? Like you already hurting, you already praying about something that you don't have, and then you got somebody on your job flaunting their promotion. You got somebody in your family flaunting a new car they got. You got a friend who getting married and she's showing off her ring, right? You already hurting, already confused, already questioning things internally. Like God, they done got married. Four other people on my street done got married. Lord, people on my job already getting promoted. Lord, I keep praying about this baby. You know, my biological clock is ticking. And then constantly being confronted with the very thing you're praying about. Again, everybody get what you want. Honestly, that's how life can feel sometimes. Not because people are always intentionally cruel about showing off the things that are happening, because they really just want you to celebrate them, but they don't realize you praying about that same thing. Not, but because everywhere you look, it feels like somebody else is receiving the thing that you're still waiting and that you've been praying about. The relationship, the open door, the healing, the clarity, the financial breakthrough, the opportunities, the travels, all the things. And if we're not careful, comparison slowly turns into discouragement. You start asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why does everybody else seem to be moving forward? Why does it feel like I'm delayed? Why does it feel like God is denying me? Why does it feel like God has forgotten about me? Comparison. Comparison is deadly. It could be very deadly. But one of the things I loved about Hannah, her story is that although she was deeply emotional, she kept bringing her pain to God honestly. She didn't pretend that she was okay. The Bible says she wept bitterly before the Lord. That means she brought God the raw version of her emotions, the raw version of herself. Not the polished church, oh, I'm okay version, not the I'm fine version, but the honest, I'm broken in my spirit version. God, why does she have the kids and I don't? And I think sometimes people believe that faith means never feeling disappointed. Real faith is continuing to seek, real faith is continuing to seek God, even when you don't fully understand the timing and why it hasn't happened for you. Because waiting can create confusion, especially when you cannot see what God is doing behind the scenes. That is the most difficult part and pain of just our faith journey. Praying and believing something, seeing everybody else getting, but you wondering, God, why am I waiting? You know, I hear my pastor, and I've heard a previous pastor that I used to go to his church. They suffering with some internal sickness, right? And they've been praying for their healing, but yet they can lay hands on everybody else and everybody else get healed, but they still struggle with theirs. That's got to be hurtful. You praying for somebody cancer, you praying for somebody to have children, you praying for somebody to be able to get out of debt, you praying for all these things for other people, but it's happening for them, but not you. Most people are okay trusting God when things make sense, but trusting Him when life feels unclear, that's different. Maybe that's where you are right now. You love God, but you don't fully understand this season of your life that you've been praying and you've been asking and you've been believing. You've been believing, but nothing happened. You thought things would have happened by now. You thought certain prayers would have already been answered. You be past this and you be on to the next thing. You thought life would look different by now. But can I encourage you with something? Delay is not always God's denial. Sometimes God is preparing things you cannot see. That is the faith. Faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We have to continue to believe, even when it's not happening either in our timing or the way that we want. Because when you read Hannah's story carefully, you realize God was not just preparing a baby, he was preparing Samuel, a prophet, a leader, someone with purpose attached to his life. Sometimes we become so focused on timing that we forget God sees the full picture while we only see the present moment. We only see what's in front of us. That doesn't mean waiting feels easy. It doesn't, especially when you feel emotionally tired from hoping for something for a very long time. But this is where many people we make the mistake. We allow discouragement to slowly pull us away from God instead of closer to Him. We stop praying, we stop trusting, we stop expecting anything good to happen. Listen, I've been there. Even on this journey, right? I'm gonna be honest with you here lately. I'm getting back and I'm staying there, but I'm struggling to believe. I feel like God told me to resign from my job. I left my job April 23rd, and it seemed like everything I'm doing now, nothing is working. Nothing is working. So there's this tinge of discouragement that's trying to set in. But I have to keep reminding myself God is faithful. God will never call you into something that he will not finish in your life. I have to remind myself of Abraham. He called Abraham from what was comfortable, what was familiar. And he said, go to a place that I will show you. No full blueprint of where he was going. Just go. What happened to Abraham the moment Abraham stepped out? He faced a famine. And I feel like that's kind of where I am right now. But I will continue to believe because that was a test for Abraham. I believe right now the season that I'm in is just a test, and I will continue to trust God because eventually disappointment will be hard in our heart if we don't believe the word. But like Hannah, she kept showing up before God, even through tears, confusion, even throughout not having clarity or full understanding of what God was doing. Eventually, the season shifted, not because Penina approved of her, not because Hannah forced the timing, not because she figured everything out, but because God had not forgotten her. He had a plan all along. She just couldn't see the plan. Just like the situation you're in, God has a plan for you. You don't see the outcome right now. You don't know when the time God had already ordained for the promise, for the child, for the marriage, for the promotion, for the purchase. I really believe somebody listening today, you need this reminder that God has not forgotten you. Not because life feels delayed, but because other people are moving faster. He hasn't forgotten you. Not because things feel unclear to you. Your timeline is not proof that God has abandoned you. Sometimes God is still writing the story while you're panicking over the current chapter. You ain't finished the book yet. So before you spend today comparing your life to somebody else's journey, I want you to take a breath. God still knows where you are. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he is planning for your life. Stay in faith. Don't allow the season that you're in to dampen your faith and cause you to doubt God. If God gives you the promise, if he gave you the promise, he placed it in your heart. He also knows the appointed time connected to it. Trust him. Remember, God's ways are not our ways. His timing is not our time, and he moves when he wants to. But he says in his word that he gives us the desires of our heart. So if that thing is in your heart, he placed it there. He just has a time that it's going to come to pass. So I pray that you wait on God and know this. Feeling forgotten is not the end all be all. He's already working. Just trust him. I pray that you are blessed. If you are going to trust God through this journey, through this season right now that feels delayed, I want you to put down in the comments, Lord, I trust you. Just simply, Lord, I trust you. My sister and brother, you be blessed today. Shalom.